Mast cell activation syndrome, also known as MCAS, is on such a sharp rise. For those of you who follow me, I've seen so many doctors, I can't even count anymore, with all the things going on with me since COVID-19. I made a diagnosis video, I can link it, but I've seen so many doctors and I speak to nurses all the time too, and it's just crazy just how much it's been skyrocketing. Like 10, 20 years ago, like no one's really barely like heard of it, and now all of a sudden it's just popping up everywhere. So it's a chronic inflammatory disorder, and it affects like so many parts of the body, multiple organ systems, right? So as of right now, 2016, research estimates that 17 to 20% of the US population may have mast cell activation syndrome. So many are getting undiagnosed. It's one of those things where a lot of things pop up normal on tests, and no one knows what's going on. So there's a lot of gaslighting from, unfortunately, from the medical community, where patients, even just anxiety is one of the symptoms, because of the histamine, which I'll talk about in a second. But a lot of patients will unfortunately be gaslit and will be circling for many, many doctors like I did. So what it is it's a type of white blood cell, and it's a part of the innate immune system. There's two teams of the immune system, the innate, which is what you're born with, and the adaptive immune system. So if you're curious, I made a video on the difference between autoinflammatory disease versus autoimmune disease, so I can link that in the description. But it's part of the innate immune system, and it's like a security guard, always looking for danger. And as I said, it is on the rise post-COVID. So they're found everywhere: the skin, gut, lungs, blood vessels, bladder, reproductive organs, brain, you name it. And the mast cell's job is, in a nutshell, just to detect any actual real danger. And I emphasize real because MCAS it's no longer actually real danger anymore. But it's supposed to, in a normal mast cell, infection, injury, and allergens, and it releases chemical signals to help protect you. And so it's just supposed to be short and quick. Hey, here's danger. Let's fix it, in a normal setting, right? So what happens in mast cell activation syndrome is that the mast cells become too sensitive, and the symptoms vary literally. So like, I am part of a Facebook support group for mast cell activation syndrome, and it's crazy how like so many triggers of other people like doesn't work with, is not part of my trigger, and everybody's just different. So heat, stress, smells, exercise, foods, those are some that people react to, and literally just sometimes for no reason. So they release histamine and other chemicals way too much for really no clear reason at all. And so, as I said before, the triggers are different for every person, and they do show up differently, and they can even change over time for the same person. So think of it as like a fire alarm. As I said before, the normal mast cell, if there's a real fire, right, that security guard does pull the fire alarm. But in mast cell activation syndrome, in that mast cell gone wrong, pretty much the security guard is just pulling everything. Hey, high histamine food? Oh, pull the fire alarm. You go in the sun today? Pull the fire alarm. You went into the hot weather or the cold weather? Pull the fire alarm. Did you exercise today? Right? Nothing obvious. Just literally, it's crazy. So some symptoms is, if it happens, it can come out as in the skin, like flushing, itching, hives, rashes. I got hives. I made that in my diagnosis videos. And then in the gut, nausea, stomach pain, diarrhea, bloating, abdominal pain. In your heart, so rapid heartbeat, dizziness, low blood pressure. And just going along with that, because I also have POTS, MCAS and POTS like are also both on the rise. I'm going to make a video soon for POTS, but a lot of them like coexist. So if I were you, if you're having issues with that, I would definitely also get that checked. But for lungs, shortness of breath, nasal congestion, wheezing, and then brain, this is literally my whole life is neural inflammation, migraines, brain fog, anxiety, and fatigue. And so histamine intolerance and MCAS go hand in hand, but it's not just histamine that mast cells do release. Tryptase, and then these last three bullets here, I'm not even going to like bother trying to sound those out. So you could take a screenshot, like pause the video and screenshot this, because I actually went to a dietitian and these are what she told me to avoid. Avocado is literally like every single time I read about mast cell activation syndrome, avocado is at the top. Like that's definitely a no-no. But you can read through. I also have some on the next slides as well. Now, keep in mind, like one person might have a trigger, let's say for olives, and then another person might have a trigger for banana, and right, it could be different. So it's not, I'm not saying that all of these. I would say me personally, I'm an extreme case. Like I can't touch any of this, especially like alcohol and anything aged, vinegar, like anything fermented. That just all gives me migraines. And then also you can pause this to like sweeteners, spices, and any additives. So these are all I got from the dietitian. So in a nutshell, mast cell activation syndrome is the immune system's alarm cells, the mast cells. They're overreacting and releasing chemicals too often, a lot of times even for no real reason at all. So it's like a security guard who keeps pulling the fire alarm when there isn't a real emergency. So if you want to subscribe, follow me on my journey. I made a diagnosis video, as I said. You can go along and follow that video if you want to know more about me. But there's still more diagnoses to come. I was extremely healthy before COVID-19, D1 athlete. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that. I'm going to make a separate video on that. And now I can't even go up a flight of stairs without, just being winded. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Comment below if you have mast cell activation syndrome, or if you know someone who has MCAS, or if you're planning on getting tested, because I would say, I guess I'll make a separate video on how I got diagnosed with MCAS, but there's many different ways. Like I would do the 24-hour urine test to not just to get the tryptase level. Your doctor might want to order that lab, but the 24-hour urine is what you want to do, because the tryptase level oftentimes gets like is fine. There's nothing out of the ordinary. And then the 24-hour urine test is definitely that's, or at least like where it flagged for me. Like that's definitely a must if you want to get that checked. But I'll see you guys next time.